Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back for your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP. So with that being said, let's just dive in and let's go back to November of 2022. So like I said, a lot of what we see around this market is all by plan. A lot of people can call me a conspiracy theorist, whatever you want to say. We know that has long-term been debunked, especially around the XRP community. But nonetheless, as we look at FTX, I strongly believe that FTX was an inside job. I think that it got through the SEC's doors for it to be utilized as an example, just like in this post. This is from November 17th, 2022. And we do see crypto will soon threaten global financial stability, FSB official says. This is from the Financial Stability Board's chair, and we do see in the wake of FTX's demise, Stephen Mayor, I hope that I'm saying that name correctly, chair of the Financial Stability Board's crypto working group, urged authorities worldwide to move beyond sectoral boundaries and agree on global norms for the industry, more so a harmonized regulatory approach. Which this is something that I also agree with. I've been talking about for a while. I think harmonization is crucial, especially for this entire sector. What's funny about this is I've been talking about that even with XinFin, right? We talk about global trade finance and how it will be digitized. The only way for that to happen is with collaboration and a harmonized approach for regulatory standards. And it's the same with this, right? There's no difference around it. This entire sector needs a harmonized approach for a global initiative move. And I agree with this. I think that this is great. But the big thing here is that recent market turmoil has given the Financial Stability Board all the more reason to develop a globally consistent regulatory framework, an official said on Thursday. The international body monitors and recommends standards for the global financial system and is made up of major economies and institutions like the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. And we do see rapid growth of crypto markets in the presence of structural vulnerabilities and incomplete regulations and supervision means that they will soon reach a point where they represent a threat to the stability of the global financial system. This is someone that actually sees the fact that crypto is becoming a very large part of the global financial system. There's a lot of money on the line and ultimately does see the fact that we need a regulatory path here. And yes, I do agree with this. I do think that they utilized FTX as a pure example for this because, again, the best way to move fast on things like this is to have crashes like FTX. So I think that FTX definitely was an inside job, which I mentioned 100 times before, and it's basically been proven at this point. Regulators worldwide who were already looking into increasing supervision of crypto after the market fallout from earlier this year are now exploring tighter requirements with renewed urgency following the collapse of multi-billion-dollar cryptocurrency exchange FTX last week. Now, the interesting thing about all of this is what has the FSB done so far? Well, good question. It's very simple. Check this out. This got published on February of this year, February 20th. FSB says existing stablecoins will be left behind by global standards. Interesting. The Financial Stability Board is set to release international standards for regulating stablecoins. FSB chair has warned that many existing stablecoins may not meet the high-level recommendations. The FSB also plans to work with other standard-setting bodies to determine how decentralized finance should be regulated. A lot of people have been asking me, Nick, where do you see regulations coming from? Do you think that Ripple is going to, the Ripple case is going to bring regulations to the space? No, I don't. I think that XRP is going to be the only digital asset that has regulatory clarity from that case. I think that it could set things in motion, but for the most part, I think that's going to be bodies like the FSB with the IMF and possibly even the BIS, which we'll get to here in a second, that are going to bring in a global initiative around regulations, which again was always the case in my opinion. But we do see that the Financial Stability Board is expected to release new regulations for crypto and stablecoins in July of this year. However, the FSB's chair has already sounded warning bells in a letter to G20 finance ministers and central bank governors, not cautioned that many existing stablecoins might not meet the high-level recommendations outlined in the upcoming guidance. So do we think that do we think that USDC and Tether are going to be around? It's questionable, right? It all depends on these regulatory, bills or standards that are coming out. But I do think that the FSB, the IMF, and the BIS are working extremely fast on this. Again, going back to February of this year, 26th, FSB, IMF, and the BIS papers to set global crypto framework, says G20. We scroll down here. The Financial Stability Board, the International Monetary Fund, and the Bank for International Settlements will deliver papers and recommendations establishing standards for a global crypto regulatory framework. The group of the 20 biggest economies of the world, collectively known as the G20, announced on February 25th. With this, right, it's very interesting on how this is really going to work out. We do see, according to a document summarizing the outcomes of the meeting with finance ministers and central bank governors, the FSB will release by July recommendations on the regulation, supervision, and oversight of global stablecoins, crypto assets, activities, and markets. Note that they didn't mention any CBDCs. Pretty interesting there, right? We'll get to that. So here is CBDCs. The next guidance is expected for September, when the FSB and the IMF jointly should submit a synthesis paper integrating the macroeconomic and regulatory perspectives of crypto assets. In the same month, the IMF will also report on the potential macro financial implications of the widespread adoption of central bank digital currencies, according to the G20 statement. We look forward to the IMF FSB synthesis paper, which will support a coordinated and comprehensive policy approach to crypto assets by considering macroeconomic and regulatory perspectives, including the full range of risk posed by crypto assets. Now, what's very interesting about this is also, during the event, United States Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, which we love Janet Yellen, right? Said it was critical to put in place a strong regulatory framework for crypto-related activities. She also noted that the country is not suggesting an outright banning of crypto activities. And yes, when we actually look at Janet Yellen, although she has no idea of how finances work, as noted with the United States economy. No, but all jokes aside, this is an individual that actually hasn't been very anti-crypto. She has, suggested that we do need a regulatory framework, which I do agree with. Now, again, there's a good way to regulate crypto and there's a bad way to regulate crypto. And we have to make sure that we are paying attention to any bills that are coming out or any plans like this. So, July is going to be a big month, in my opinion. We have the Fed Now service. We have this crypto framework now. There's a lot happening. And a lot of people have been, questioning me if I do think that a settlement or anything like that around the crypto case with Ripple and SEC is going to, be done by July. I don't know. I'm not here to predict those those dates and things like that. But if I had to guess, I would say, the next couple months are definitely going to be interesting around that case. We are starting to finally see, traction picking up. So I'm very excited about that. But also, here you have from the FSB. Very interesting as well. This is basically that bill. So we do see crypto assets and global stablecoins. Crypto assets are a type of private sector digital asset that depends primarily on cryptography and distributed ledger or similar technology. The different segments of crypto assets markets, including unbacked crypto assets such as Bitcoin, so-called stablecoins, and decentralized finance, are closely interrelated in a complex and constantly evolving ecosystem and need to be considered holistically when assessing related financial stability risk. Now, they do mention crypto assets here. They also talk a little bit about the vulnerabilities with them. They do mention 5 areas of vulnerabilities. And this is, the financial sector exposures to crypto assets, related financial products, and entities that are financially impacted by crypto assets. Wealth effects, i.e. the degree to which changes in the value of crypto assets might impact their investors with subsequent knock-on effects on the financial system. Confidence, or I suppose there's only 4 here actually. Confidence effects through which developments concerning crypto assets could impact investor confidence in crypto asset markets and potentially the broader financial system, and the extent of crypto assets use in payments and settlements. Now, with this, we also do see a few things down here. So the G20 has charged the FSB. So this is the G20 literally giving the FSB a job with coordinating the delivery of an effective and comprehensive regulatory framework for crypto assets. In 2023, the FSB will finalize its recommendations for the regulation, supervision, and oversight of crypto assets and markets, and its recommendations targeted at global stablecoin arrangements, which have characteristics that may take threats to financial stability more acute. Additionally, the FSB will deliver a joint paper with the IMF later that synthesizes the policy findings from the IMF work on macroeconomic and monetary issues, and FSB work on supervisory and regulatory issues associated with crypto assets. And then they also do talk a little bit about AMF and CFT regulation and supervision. But then down here we have global stablecoins, which is probably one of the most interesting areas of interesting around this. So, with stablecoins, the reason why I think that this is pretty interesting is because they do mention a few things around this. So stablecoins have the potential to bring efficiencies to payments and to promote financial inclusion. However, a widely adopted stablecoin with a potential reach and use across multiple jurisdictions, a so-called global stablecoin or GSC, could become systemically important in and across one or many jurisdictions, including as a means of making payments. The emergence of GSCs may challenge the comprehensiveness and effectiveness of existing regulatory and supervisory oversight. The FSB has agreed on 10 high-level recommendations that promote coordinated and effective regulation, supervision, and oversight of GSC arrangements to address the financial stability risk posed by GSCs, both at the domestic and international level. Then down here, we do see the recommendations call for regulation, supervision, and oversight that is proportionate to the risk. Authorities agree on the need to apply supervisory and oversight capabilities and practices under the same business, same risk, same rules principle. And then we do see further actions have been agreed and will be implemented as part of the FSB's roadmap to enhance cross-border payments. And this is where things get a little bit interesting. So if we go all the way back to October of 2020, this is how long this has been taking, right? So this is enhancing cross-border payments stage 3 roadmap. And this is something that I've been watching for a little bit of time, because this is centered out on everything that Ripple has been focused on around cross-border payments. I mean, like, let's not beat around the bush here. When we talk about cross-border payments, who's the leader within crypto? We already know it's Ripple and Stellar. They're doing incredible things around this space. So, to me personally, it's either Ripple or Stellar, or just both of them. And I even said, like, they're not really competing for this market. I think that they're very complementary to each other. But here are the 5 focus areas. So this one was the 5, the other one was 4. Committing to a joint public and private sector vision to enhance cross-border payments, coordinating on regulatory, supervisory, and oversight frameworks, improving existing payment infrastructures and arrangements to support the requirements of the cross-border payments market, increasing data quality and straight-through processing by enhancing data and market practices, exploring the potential role of a new payment infrastructures and arrangements. Very interesting here. And remember, the global stablecoins are a part of this, with, of course, the G20, the FSB, the IMF, the BIS as well. And all of them, almost every single one of those documents, include Ripple, include Stellar, include DLT, include blockchain technology, and also include the fact that, listen, like, we are, about to see new payment infrastructures rise and new payment systems. And I wonder what they will be centered out on. Interesting, right? And this is all centered out on enhancing cross-border payments. Now, also, Ripple did respond back to the FSB's stability board with this report. So this is the proposed framework for international regulation of crypto asset activities. This was December 15th of last year. So pretty much at the end of last year. This is right after FTX. And we do see Ripple Labs Inc. Ripple welcomes the opportunity to comment on the international regulation of crypto asset activities, a proposed framework, questions for consultation, and the related consultative document on regulation, supervision, and oversight of crypto asset activities and markets, published by the FSB. It's kind of interesting here that Ripple is, responding back to this. I'm sure that there's a few other players as well, but this is majorly focused on the global stablecoin arrangements, the GSC report. And we do see Ripple would like to thank the FSB for the in-depth and comprehensive analysis that has been undertaken in drafting the consultation papers, as well as the opportunity to provide our comments. We respectfully request you take them into consideration as you consider the policy direction and scope of intended regulation for the crypto asset ecosystem. Which this kind of makes me believe that this case is a big nothing burger, and that we will have regulations coming from this entire bill, most likely centered out with the FSB, the IMF, and the BIS. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm overthinking it, but let me know what you guys think. And we do see some customers, in addition to deploying Ripple's blockchain solution, RippleNet, leverage a digital asset known as XRP for on-demand liquidity capability. Just as Bitcoin is the native asset to the open source Bitcoin ledger, and Ethereum is the native asset to the open source Ethereum ledger, XRP is the native asset to the open source XRP ledger, meaning there's no real difference here at all. And they do also mention Ripple utilizing XRP and the XRP ledger in its product offerings. XRP is independent of Ripple. The XRP ledger is decentralized, open source, and operates on what is known as a consensus protocol. While there are well over 100 known use cases for XRP in the XRP ledger, Ripple leverages XRP for its use in its product suite because of XRP's suitability for cross-border payments, literally designed for cross-border payments, if you will. But yeah, this does go in depth on a few things. And here you have Principle 1, adopt a globally consistent taxonomy. Again, like if we look at crypto, if we look at digital assets, if we look at this asset class, we need a harmonized approach. And that's what we will get. I don't think that's going to come from Congress. I don't think that's going to come from the SEC. I know that I've talked a little bit about Congress. I think that Congress could ultimately be a part of this as well. But I know that Congress is fighting this. It's weird, right? Like we don't know what is real. We don't know what is fake. There's a lot of things happening behind closed doors. There's a lot of things like this, stablecoin bill, or I shouldn't even say stablecoin bill, but this proposal that would ultimately bring in a set of rules and a regulatory path for a global initiative around stablecoins and global stablecoins. It's wild. And we do see, lastly, given the cross-border nature of cross-asset markets, Ripple supports having minimum global standards supported by cross-border cooperation and information sharing across jurisdictions to help ensure an approach that is consistent and comparable. Ripple is supportive of the FSB's recommendation to require cross-border cooperation, coordination, and information sharing. However, Ripple posits that a framework that also supports mutual recognition of licenses across jurisdictions could also lead to a level playing field globally, thereby supporting the sustainable growth and development of the crypto asset ecosystem. Enabling greater mutual recognition would be a natural benefit of adopting common minimum international standards. Like, what's wild about this is that, like, I don't think people realize that Ripple's like working here with all of these major players. In my opinion, I think that Ripple has been creating these regulatory frameworks for a while and also answering a lot of these regulatory framework discussions and being a part of them. Which tells me that I already think that Ripple, like I think that this case might just be nonsense. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think that this case really means as much as most people are making it out to be. I actually think that we will see regulations ushered in by a much larger agency than the SEC, and it could very well be the Financial Stability Board with the IMF and the BIS and even the G20. But also, what's wild about all of this is that Ripple recently announced the next evolution in global payments is here. Navati Payments has announced its one-to-one fiat-backed stablecoin, the Australian dollar, is now live on the XRP ledger. This is wild because this is their journey towards the internet of value. But what's crazier about all of this is that we already know that Stably, USD stablecoin, officially launched on the XRP ledger. This goes all the way back to November of last year. Meanwhile, the Republic of Palau is working with Ripple to create a national stablecoin. This goes back to December of last year, all around the same time that we've seen the FSB coming out around this space with this global stablecoin initiative. And here we have Ripple responding right around December, the middle of December of last year, while these were going live. I mean, maybe it's a coincidence. I don't know, but this is pretty wild to me. And also remember that Ripple announced going back to November of last year, the global stablecoin race is on. And this talked a little bit about US regulations, the World Economic Forum, and how there essentially will be, a lot more volume coming into the stablecoin area. They also do mention the new partners that Ripple did pick up with Stably and Stasis. Together with Ripple, they'll be tapping the XRP ledger as a fast, low-cost, and scalable blockchain that offers clear liquidity, reliability, and interoperability advantages for stablecoin issuers. And again, as we do see what's happening here around the FSB with the IMF, the BIS, they're focused on, global stablecoins. I'm not saying that Ripple and the XRP ledger are going to be their number one choice, but I definitely do believe that Ripple is ahead of most when it comes to this. And also remember that right here, furthermore, the XRP ledger's auto bridging feature helps improve cross-currency liquidity for more streamlined, cost-effective exchanges between XRP and other digital assets on the ledger. And also remember, XRP acts as that neutral bridge asset that can settle any two currencies between one another, which would make this the perfect opportunity for a global stablecoin initiative to be built upon. Now, again, we don't know if that's going to be the case. But we already know that XRP is being positioned as that global bridge. But also, it makes sense on why now, when we go over to the central bank digital currency tab on Ripple's website, because I noticed this initially, why we have CBDCs and stablecoins now mentioned here when it was just originally central bank digital currencies. This was originally just CBDCs. Now we are seeing stablecoins being mentioned here. Again, this is all centered out on that private XRP ledger technology. I know a lot of people think that, hey, you know, this isn't going to use XRP. There's only one XRP. There's not a private XRP. There's a private ledger technology based upon XRP ledger technology, but I do still believe that XRP's use case is vital to this as well, because if you watch this video, they even say in this video that they are positioning XRP as that bridge asset between CBDCs, stablecoins, or anything that has value, especially in the tokenized world. But also, within this announcement, we do see this from June 12th, the next evolution in global payments, Navati brings stablecoins to the Australian market. We scroll down a little bit. So they do talk a little bit about what is a stablecoin. What's wild about this is that there's a lot of volume behind stablecoins. 7.2 trillion actually in 2022 was the trading volume, if you will, or the transactional volume. Pretty significant. But this does talk a little bit about stablecoins, where CBDCs are digital currencies issued and managed by government. Stablecoins in many cases are issued and managed by private entities rather than created, controlled, or regulated by a country's central bank. I personally would love to see stablecoins only. I don't really like the idea of central bank digital currencies, which I've always talked about. Because stablecoins are pegged to major currencies, for an example, the US dollar, they usually have little to no volatility, hence the name. Beyond the volatility of the currency they are pegged to. This also means stablecoin demand remains high even during market fluctuations. And they do talk a little bit more about stablecoins down here. They also talk about euro-backed stablecoins and things like that. I think that this is going to continue to be a big deal. I think stablecoins are here to stay. I think that we'll most likely see a global initiative around stablecoins, but we do see that the Australian dollar will be available for a direct one-to-one swap of fiat Australian dollars via the XRP ledger. Transactions on the XRP ledger are both fast, 3 to 5 seconds per transaction, and low cost, fractions of a cent per transaction, making it ideally suited to support stablecoins and asset tokenization at scale. The Australian dollar's functionality on the XRP ledger means users around the world can utilize the Australian dollar to make payment, or the Australian digital dollar, to make payments and trade with other XRP-based tokens via the native decentralized exchange. User accounts will be able to access the Australian digital dollar through any XRP ledger enabled wallet. And this does talk a little bit more about cross-border transactions as well, because again, we already know that Navati has been very successful utilizing the XRP ledger's native digital asset XRP for cross-border transactions. So why wouldn't they do this? Why wouldn't they leverage XRP as a bridge currency between the two fiat currencies around Australia and even, you know, the US and so many other corridors? But for now, we know that going back to 2021, their initial viewpoint was utilizing XRP and positioning it as a bridge between Australia and the Philippines. Since using Ripple's payment solution, Navati has now been able to expand their business into 58 countries and process billions of dollars in annual transaction value. The Australian digital dollar is also being integrated into Navati's existing suite of payment solutions and is designed to meet a range of use cases, including remittance, payment gateway, trading pair, and stable coin as a service. The launch of a fiat-backed stablecoin powered by the XRP ledger was a natural next step in the company's evolution. Navati is excited to continue the journey in bringing our stablecoin roadmap to life, with the goal to provide faster, more secure payments with lower friction cost to consumers. By deploying the Australian digital dollar on the XRP ledger, we will be able to capture the growing demand for digital currencies and create new revenue streams for our business while delivering on our promise to make our solution available to multiple networks. And this is absolutely massive. And you know what? This definitely is just the beginning. We do see bringing fiat on-chain is just the beginning. It definitely is. We have a long way to go. But guys, I'm so damn excited about this because this provides you with a little bit of an insight on just how large the internet of value will be. I think that financial institutions, enterprises, businesses, companies, you name them, they're going to love, you know, tokenization. They're going to love the idea of utilizing DLT and blockchain technology within their business workflows. And it's only a matter of time. And guys, this is probably one of the biggest use cases out there in terms of having fiat on chain. It's a huge deal. And you know what's crazy about all of this is that this is just the beginning. And there's so many use cases for XRP. We already know that outlined in that PDF file, there was over 100 plus use cases for XRP. And those use cases only grow day by day by day. Who knows how many use cases there are for XRP at this point, but it's only going to continue to expand from here on out. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join me for Discord in the description below. So it's up to you all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night. If you guys are on this beautiful world, it's been Nick. Peace out, guys.